Let's face it, microphones are not the most sexy thing to talk about, but I came across this set of NEEWER KM19s, and to be fair, for $22, they are pretty much a banging value for your buck. And this is not going to be one of those super long videos when I'll be talking about features and showing them. We'll jump straight into sound tests in a second, but let's go through some basic specs first. So first of all, these have been designed to work with smartphones. If you're one of those creators who doesn't want to carry a big rig with you, I think looking for a fairly affordable set of microphones is the way to go. Because yes, you can spend big bucks on DJI or the newly released Insta360 Mic Pro. I absolutely love my DJI stuff. This is a DJI on my shirt right now. This is what you're listening to right now. However, there is a caveat. They are about 10 to 15 times more expensive than these guys here. 10 to 15 times is a lot, especially when you're starting out. There's a lot of cost you'll be building up as a new creator. So having gear that just works out of the bug is the way to go, in my opinion. One of the coolest things about these microphones is that they're tiny. They are so small, in fact, that you can barely notice that you have them on. These little nuggets weigh only 6 grams. They record in 48 kilohertz and 16-bit. Now, when you think about it, this is not something mind-blowing, nor it should be at 20 bucks or so, but it's still miles better than you recording yourself on the iPhone or Samsung Galaxy or whatever you're rocking. Because pretty much every microphone out there is gonna make your sound so much better than whatever you're gonna get directly from the device you're recording it on. I can talk my absolute bollocks off about the quality of these microphones, but let's watch the footage together of me taking my dog for a walk in a pretty windy environment outside, so you'll get a good idea of how they sound in the real world. Okay, cool. We're testing these in the great outdoors. I'll be huffing and puffing like crazy. It is a very steep hill. Doesn't look it on the video, I know, but trust me, it is. Now, there's no noise isolation applied to this, so we're getting all the ambient sound we can get in the beautiful forces of nature. And now we're on the level 1 of the noise isolation in the outdoors. There's tiny little bit of a breeze going, nothing serious, at least for now. So the only things that it should fight is me huffing and puffing, climbing this enormous hill. It's like Everest, trust me. Now we've bumped it up all the way to level 2. There is a bit of a breeze coming straight onto the mic. I'm kind of guessing it's going to be heard. There's only so much you can do with physics. I'm just wondering if it's going to sound any better than in the van, but also if my voice won't be breaking, because obviously of all the ambient noises around us. Now we're on the final boss of the noise reduction, which is a level 3. Again, not much of a wind going on just now, but we'll do a wind test if there's going to be some at the top of the hill. Let me know down in the comments below again how it sounds to you. Now we're on the level 3 of the noise reduction. It is pretty windy. I don't really think that any microphone will handle that anyway. Certainly not one that's literally just attached to my jacket. If you need to fight the wind, just place your microphones under your shirt and you're golden. Anyway, this is how it sounds when it's windy on level 3. Come here. Come here. Come here. And another great thing about these microphones is the fact that you can stand pretty far and still get the audio. They claim you can go pretty far away from your phone. I wouldn't do that necessarily unless you're in an empty space like this. Even then, I'm not a big fan of leaving my gear that far. Fetch! We are a fair distance away from the camera. If I'll turn my back, let's see if this is still picking up the audio. If it's still picking up the audio. The microphone is under my shirt and the noise cancellation is switched off. Just to give you an idea how it sounds when you give it a little bit more of a natural, physical noise reduction. One thing I would say about these guys that I don't fully understand why NEEWER decided to do this is why are they omnidirectional? So here on the screen you see the pattern they're picking up sound from. I appreciate that this thing can move around a little bit on your shirt and you might miss the shot, but at the same time, if you've got a lavalier mic, I would prefer for this cone to be directed roughly where my head's supposed to be, because otherwise you're picking up a lot of ambient sound, and now this whole noise reduction system has to work overtime to get rid of all the extra noises that are irrelevant to your footage. On a positive note, this little thing has SPL of 120 dB, which basically means that if you're in a very loud environment, the sound shouldn't be clipping. Obviously, granted that the camera settings you're using are correct, or you're recording it on something like a Blackmagic app, where you can set sound to be recorded and float, which means you've got so much more room to maneuver in, whether something goes very loud or very quiet. If I would have spent 250 bucks on this, I would be pretty disappointed. But at $20, I think it is a cracking deal for anyone starting out. Or if you need something fairly inconspicuous, maybe you're doing side quest for FBI. I have no idea, I'm not judging here. What I'm saying is that this is small enough to be pretty much left unseen when you're walking around. Now, not everything is golden about this, obviously, for this price. When I took it around for a drive, the noise in my van was absolutely killing audio. It didn't matter if I was switching the noise cancellation on and off, it was a bit of a mess. Having said that, my DJI mic sometimes struggles, especially when it's very windy, so you get a lot of different patterns being picked up by whatever algorithms are running within this little thing, and even those more expensive mics sometimes clip my voice. Obviously, not as often as this thing, but again, we're talking 10 to 15 times the price. So here are a couple of sound samples from my drive. One of the tests I really like doing is taking these microphones for a ride. Because I've noticed there's more and more people, especially since some Select started doing that, is vlogging from their cars. Now, we're in a diesel long wheelbase 3.5 ton van, so probably it's going to be a little bit louder than whatever car you're using, but it should give you a good idea how these sound in a slightly more noisy environment. Neewer has 3 levels of noise reduction. This is without any applied whatsoever, so this is how it sounds directly coming from the microphone into the iPhone. I haven't applied any of my presets or done no magic inside of DaVinci Resolve to mitigate any sounds whatsoever. Okay, so this is what you're getting straight out of the gate. Now we're going to apply the first level of noise reduction. So this is typically what Neewer recommends for even when you're recording at home. You always get some humming sounds and things like that, and you want to make sure that these are mitigated. Now, my problem with most of the built-in noise reduction is that it makes you sound hyper robotic and it's not natural, and I always prefer to do all these things by myself in post. But this is level 1. Now, this is not us driving really fast, so let's pick up some speed somewhere. This right now, ladies and gentlemen, is the level 2. So this is recommended for places like maybe slightly busier cafes, or you've got kids running around in the background and stuff like that. So that should cut off a little bit more of that extra ambient noise, and in theory it should provide us with super clean vocals. But yep, this is how it sounds when it's coming directly from the microphone into the iPhone with the 3rd and ultimate level of noise reduction. Let me know down in the comments what you think. So from that little excursion, you know that these microphones are not dealing with road noise that well. It might be down to the fact that there's a lot of different patterns that AI has to deal with, or the fact that microphone components are just too small to deal with it. Anyway, I'm pretty sure if you were in a quieter vehicle, it might be totally different story. Currently, I only have access to this big ass beast. Now we're gonna go back in the studio and discuss some other important details. One important thing to mention is that these microphones come with its own app. The problem, however, is that unless you're an Android user, there's no app for iPhone. Which I don't know why. I've reached out to Neewer, and if I'll get an update before publishing this video, I will put it down in a pinned comment. And obviously, if I'll get that reply after posting this video, I will still comment it. I don't know why I said it in the first place. So look, if you've got an expensive set of mics, I think you're set for life. You can just add small lavaliers to them and Bob's your uncle. But if you're starting out, if you're looking for reliable microphones to hook up to your phone, I think this is the best deal on the market right now. And as always, if you have any questions whatsoever, drop them down below and I'll get back to you. I appreciate you being here. Have a great day. See you in the next one.